Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bob Stoops app, and Merry Christmas. Brad McMullen along with Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops. And, Coach, let's talk about the big stories in college football right now. A big one here in Norman. Dillon Gabriel, the starting first-team All-Big 12 quarterback, led Oklahoma to 10 wins this season. Great competitor, now heading off to Oregon.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. And first of all, happy holidays to everybody. Wish you great holidays and safe ones. Yeah, Dillon did an incredible job here. He took us through a really tough transition. A shocker, of course, when Lincoln left, and we hired Brent, which I love. I intervened there for a few weeks to be around and do and work the bowl game. And Dillon coming in was a very stabling force. Great guy, great person, incredible teammate. We go from 6-6 regular season, lose the bowl game to a tough FSU team, which showed again this year, and now here we are 10-2. So that dip wasn't long, and Dillon was a huge part of that, along with the staff, Coach Venables. So I know the Sooner Nation is really proud and happy for Dillon, whatever's best for him moving forward. I think there's a lot that went into this. What Dillon's, all that he's been through, then maybe he was going to go pro, and now with different reasons, maybe it isn't best to do so. We've got a great quarterback behind him waiting for his opportunity. So I think there was a lot to work through there for everybody. And Dillon just felt this is a great opportunity for him. And I wouldn't doubt that. For him, it's different too. He had a history with Jeff Lebby at Central Florida. So now he's gone. And an opportunity to go to Oregon. Look what they did with Bo Nix. Anyway, I think all of it is good for everyone. Yes. In my opinion. I know everybody appreciates and loves Dillon for his work here, and they should. And now, though, we wish him the best. It's a big opportunity at Oregon, and again, they've got some opportunities there. So, and then for Oklahoma to move forward for the future, you got a 5-star quarterback. We've got Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley elevated for coordinators, and Seth, that gives him a whole extra spring ball to be ready, and a game, that to lead into winter and spring ball to really get a jump start on next year. So I just think it all happened positively for everybody.
And hearing Dillon Gabriel's own words describing this, he said he had nothing but love and respect for Oklahoma, and that everyone was very transparent that this was going to be his last year on his side because he was looking for the NFL. And so everyone kept their word on either side. It's just now when you look at the draft class of quarterbacks that are coming out,
right,
it's going to hurt his financial ability to make money. If he went out in the draft now, he can stay another year in college football because of this NIL and get paid to play. I mean, it's a great opportunity for him and his family.
And I think he saw Bo Nix the year he had at Oregon. He wasn't having that at Auburn. I believe it was Auburn, right?
Yes,
ahead of that. Right. And look what they did with him in 1 year. And Dillon has every bit the experience or more. So he's got that opportunity, and so I'll be rooting hard for him. So, respect and love the guy for what he did here. And, again, it just kind of happened maybe in a positive way for everyone.
Yep, and go be great, number 8.
Absolutely.
We love Dillon Gabriel, and I'll always remember that memory of that Texas game, coming back and winning that game at the end.
Oh, he's an awesome guy, awesome teammate.
All right, so another big story, you had an offensive lineman, a true freshman in Caden Green, announced he's going into the portal. Expectations are he may actually follow out to Oregon or go to another school. It's sad anytime you leave or lose somebody that you want to have on your team. But this is the new climate of college football.
It is, and everybody's life's different. Everybody's family circumstances are different. You don't know all the intricacies of everybody and everything about it. I don't ever look at it as any 1, 2, 3 people's fault. Just life circumstances are different for everybody, and if this is better for his life, so be it. And like you said, that's today's world. Yeah. And So he did a great job. I'm all for anyone that's helped us win and been great for OU. Good for them. And then if something else isn't right now and if something's different for you, well, then you go do it. We've got more people to recruit and to develop, and I'm not looking to push anyone out the door whatsoever. But again, everybody's circumstances are different, and everyone acts like they know what they are. No, you don't.
No.
That's what I always tell people: stay out of their business. This isn't. You don't know all the different circumstances of everybody's family life and what they're dealing with.
Yeah, wish Caden Green plenty of great success in college football and beyond. And you have to talk about the good with the bad. The good for Oklahoma, the number one wide receiver in the transfer portal, Purdue, is choosing between Oklahoma and Texas. And I guess he watched the Red River rivalry this year because he chose Oklahoma.
Well, that's great. And, I can't say that I watch all these guys in the portal. I don't. But for just reading about them, I love it. And we will throw the ball. We will throw it well. And, Seth Luttrell, Joe John have a history of that. And he's from what I see, big-time receiver. So that's great. And, this is a different world where you just trade pieces.
Yep.
And you just got to be smart on how you're trading them all. And he looks like a great pickup.
Yeah, and let's talk about a receiver currently on the Oklahoma roster, Drake Stoops, the captain, the first-team All-Big 12 wide receiver. Your son's had some pretty nice experiences catching footballs from some pretty talented people, now Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, well, it'll be great. I'm sure this whole practice time will be really positive for everybody. It has to be. And I'm anxious to see him in the game. And, we're just all grateful Drake's had the career he has. The coaches have done a great job working with him. And, Dillon finding them. And people, I know other times people go, well, he's open here. Well, you don't know what it's like being that quarterback with all those big guys in front of you. It's not always easy to see them. So, but anyway, it's been a fun year, exciting year, and I know Drake's excited to work with Jackson and hopefully have a big game and finish the year in a really good way.
Yeah, he's done well with those true freshmen in bowl games, especially the Alamo Bowl. I think the Caleb Williams guy found a Drake Stoops in the back of the end zone for a touchdown.
Absolutely. Hopefully get a few more this Alamo Bowl.
Amen. All right, another big story in college football. Florida State went undefeated. They won the ACC championship, and they are not in the Final Four. Your thoughts on the Florida State Seminoles and their schedule going on the road in the SEC for non-conference games and not getting in?
I'll be honest, I don't agree with most of the people who act like they know who are the best four teams. And I'm not talking about earning it. I just thought the way they played the entire year that they were one of the four best teams. And here, my biggest reason is why. Outside of the ACC, who I'm not a big fan of I don't believe that competition in that league is very strong, top to bottom whatsoever. They have a few. That's in my opinion, that's it. But they go out and schedule LSU and Florida out of conference. They play Florida. They play Florida every year, but they played them both away from home.
Yes.
Everyone talks about the SEC. Well, they played two of the names, LSU and Florida. I understand Florida hadn't had a great couple years. LSU has.
Yes.
They beat them both away from home, and fairly convincingly.
Yes.
In my opinion, that's what sold it for me. And so I feel for them. I would hate it if I were in their position. And that was my opinion. Is the debate should have been between Alabama and Texas.
And I agree with you. You're undefeated. And the idea that you can figure out how a person's going to play in a game. Think about this. Cardell Jones back at Ohio State. Now, we know he had an unbelievable game against Wisconsin that day. But what if somebody else had played in that game and they had won that game, and then you found out the quarterback was out, and you're like, well, I don't know this Cardell Jones guy. They're not any good. They won the national championship with Cardell Jones. I just feel it's ridiculous to decide how somebody's going to play in a particular game. And defense wins championships. Look at how many times a defense has stepped up. Your 2000 OU team. I mean, they held them to 2 points. A safety is all that Florida State scored. Oh, you didn't score 40 points that game, but they dominated the line of scrimmage. The defense played well, and that's what frustrates me for Florida State, is they did it the right way.
And when we did that, that's against the #1 team in scoring offense in NCAA history at the time.
Yep.
So
and
defense
Heisman
can
Trophy winner
win.
in Winky too.
Defense can win you a national championship, and Florida State looks that way defensively is the other part that I feel. So I would, my opinion, I would have voted them in.
All right, now looking at the Final Four, Alabama's going to play Michigan. We'll have our Bowl Pick'em show coming up later. But let's talk a little bit about this. Alabama made some news by hiring a former Michigan assistant that was let go in February, a former linebackers coach, for an off-the-field role. It looks like Alabama's taking this game pretty seriously.
I read that. I'm like, you cannot make this stuff up.
No.
And I don't blame Alabama. Why not? You know, if he's let go and you got an off-the-field position to bring him in, who knows? But, you know, I'd worry if I'm Alabama. He may be a double agent. He may still be working with Michigan on signs. But I'm just kidding. And I don't know what's happened there. But bottom line, I don't have all the details of that. So bottom line, hey, it's free world out there. If that's best for him, and he was let go at Michigan, then there you go.
Yeah, and you never know Nick Saban with the media. It's a coincidence. I was just looking for a new coach for an off-the-field role. He just happened to have coached at Michigan for a couple of years.
Well,
shocker.
To give Coach Saban his defense in hiring the guy, Michigan's played great defense.
Yes.
So some of the things, you know, I know Coach Saban. I've known him forever, for a long time, and he's always looking to expand, to learn, to what are some little nuances somebody else might be doing that helps us? We got together with our whole staffs a couple years in a row to share and talk ideas. So, hey, Michigan's played great defense, so that makes sense.
All right, big news. Oklahoma, SEC football. The schedule for 2024 was released, and boy, oh boy, a juggernaut for the Sooners in their rookie year in the SEC. Let's break down this schedule, Coach. But before we go game by game, first, your thoughts when you saw this schedule.
Exciting. You know, you're not going to go through this whole schedule in today's world, adding Texas and OU. I should say adding OU and Texas.
There you go. Get it right.
To the SEC. You're not going to have a lot of easy games. I mean, this is why we're there. There's going to be exciting games for fans, for TV, and I think the same thing for these other schools are sitting there thinking, now here's Texas, #3 in the country. Here's us, number 12, 10-2. All of a sudden, we're added to their schedule. They can't be excited about it. So we feel the same way. It's a challenge, but it's exciting.
And Oklahoma's used to having the attention, used to being on center stage, but it's interesting when you see a schedule reveal of one game on Good Morning America, 2 games on Monday Night Football, another on a Sports Center A-block story, and then an entire primetime show for 2 hours on ESPN, all on a schedule that's still months away.
Absolutely, but these are going to be big games for the whole country to watch. And, you know, OU Texas brings brand names and to every bit of any of the top ones in the SEC. So that just adds to everybody, you know, everybody's excitement, enthusiasm about it.
All right, arguably the most difficult schedule Oklahoma's had since 2008 when you were on the sidelines for the Sooners. Let's go through it. Temple will be the first game on August 31st. They lost barely to South Florida team that played Alabama really well. They beat Navy. We know that Navy has some talent out there. This is not a cupcake to start the season at all with Temple.
No, heck no. It's, you know, the whole thing for me will always be, as a coach and now even watching them go through this, be your best, you know, as soon as you can be. And you've got to regroup every week and do it again. And there are never any gimmies. If, you know, you slip up, have a few too many turnovers or mistakes, and it's over. It can be over. So they'll have to be ready every game.
All right, and speaking of every game, week 2, an old Big 12 rival that we never got to play in the Big 12, Houston, who did beat West Virginia this year, did beat Baylor this year, going to have a new coaching staff. And as you say this, Coach, when Oklahoma or Texas are on the schedule, it's usually the biggest game for one of those teams.
Absolutely, and that's the unknown with Houston now with the changeover in coaches, what that will look like. But obviously, they beat me one of our years, down in Houston. So they'll have to be ready because, again, like you said, everybody's excited to play OU, and especially now they're coming into the Big 12. We're leaving. That just maybe adds a little fuel to the fire. So it'll be that way throughout the year.
Yeah, all right, then you've got game number 3, Tulane, who went 11-2 in the top 25 in the college football playoff rankings. This is a talented team that continues to recruit really well, hot in the SEC. Hotbed, if you will, there in Louisiana.
Yeah, they've been good the last 2-3 years. So we saw them here at home not long ago, and where we were lucky to beat them late in the game. Yeah. Took us this far on 4th down, or they've got a 1st down and still driving to beat us or tie us. So again, another team that continues to build and improve. You get some of these other lower tier teams that you don't want to play the best ones because they're always tough.
Yep. All right. Week number 4, Tennessee Volunteers. Josh Heupel, who won a national championship here at Oklahoma as the quarterback in 2000, under Coach Stoops, returns. Volunteers 8-4, a team a year ago that looked like they would be a national frontrunner this year. Didn't have the year that they wanted. Still a lot of talent, and going to be excited about coming to Norman.
Yeah, they've done a great job there. Everyone thought, when Josh took that job, all the sanctions and all the penalties and the kind of the turmoil they were in from recruiting violations, didn't realize he could get it going that fast. Yes. I anticipated, it's just for those reasons, it's going to take a little bit, but he's overcome them, and and quickly. So definitely, what'll matter, I think, a little bit are some of who graduates, who are the seniors leaving, and who's back. But Josh and his staff have done a great job. I know he'll have an incredible reception here at OU when he enters the field, and he should. And so that'll be exciting, though, another big matchup.
Yeah. All right, and if you think that's tough, now you get to go play at Auburn. Auburn 6-6. Yes, they've got 6 losses on the season, but they looked extremely competitive in a few games this year, including one against Alabama that I still can't believe they lost.
Yeah, that was a miracle. Anyway, anytime any of these road games are going to be exciting for our fans. They're tough places to play. But I believe as you're a strong program yourself, you get used to that. I lived it for 3 years with Coach Spurrier at Florida. And at the time, we had won a national championship in '96 and undefeated through the SEC and the championship game. And in the end, if you're going to be that kind of team, you go into these places and you play well. And we got used to that and actually looked forward to it. You know what it's going to look like, and it revs you up when everybody's after you the way they are.
Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns in the Final Four. Their only loss to the Oklahoma Sooners in the Red River rivalry. Next game after Auburn, the Texas Longhorns will be looking for revenge.
Yeah, that's exciting. We know what that looks like. That won't change whether we're both in the SEC or wherever we're at. Yeah. Meeting them in the Cotton Bowl is what it is, and it's one of the best venues and best games anybody could ever see and go to.
Yeah, that's just the first 6 games of this season. Who's the big winner in this? The college football fans. I mean, that is an unbelievable first 6 games for Oklahoma. All right, moving on, we'll have South Carolina here at home as a former OU assistant returns with the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I'm excited about it again. This is a team. Shane Beamer a year ago had a little stronger year than this year. But he's done a really good job. Spencer Rattler still?
He will be gone.
He will be gone. I was wondering if he'd be back. Couldn't remember what year. But anyway, that'll be different with a new quarterback. But Shane's done a great job there. They're a really good football team, and not quite as good this year as the year before. And I can't tell you what his roster looks like, but it's still a new team coming in. Here to to Memorial Stadium.
Yep. And then we're going to go on the road to the SIP, to Mississippi, to play Ole Miss there in Oxford. Mississippi had a great year this year, 11-2. They struggled against Georgia and Alabama, as most teams do that play them. This will be a fun game for the Sooner fans to go to.
Yeah, definitely. Lane Kiffin and his staff continue to do a really good job the last number of years. So great venue. I haven't been there. And with Coach Spurrier through the SEC, I hadn't been to Ole Miss, but from what I understand, it's a great experience. So another fun, exciting new stadium to go visit.
Well, I got a chance to live in Mississippi for a decade. We'll have to go hit some great restaurants like Mama Hamil's. That's really good.
Yeah.
All right, Maine will be back at home on November 2nd. This is one of those games where you want to stay healthy, you want to get sharp, you want to get some people some reps that may have not had the opportunity. Looking at SEC schedules for the last 15 or 20 years, they put a team like this, and this is no disrespect to Maine, but there is a difference between Alabama and Maine, in the middle of the schedule to try to give an opportunity for people for reps and health.
Well, and it's kind of more mid-late,
Yes.
kind of usually late, and you see this throughout the SEC through the years. And so be different for us playing a different non-conference game that late in the year. But again, just a chance to keep improving and get yourself ready for a stretch run.
All right, next game on the road, an old Big 12 and Big 8 rival in Missouri. And boy, Missouri, probably the surprise team for me here in 2023, going 10-2 and with an SEC schedule, 5 of those wins as a major underdog. The Tigers have shown up this year.
Oh, no question. They're a really good football team. There's no other way to say it. They've won handily in a bunch of these games, at home or on the road. So you got to give it to them. They've really played well. Their coaching staff's done a great job, and they got good players. And I remember all the years we played them, and they were always a tough team. Tough team to play. Always had good players, and they're doing a great job now.
And no matter who Oklahoma plays, it's a tough ticket to get in town. Every game has been sold out since this guy's first home football game in 1999. But come November 23rd, the Alabama Crimson Tide will be back in Norman for the first time since 2002. That's going to be a lot of fun. Defending SEC champion Alabama coming to town.
I don't know how much fun it ever is playing Alabama, that's for sure. But anyway, everyone will be excited about it. Heck, that'll be a marquee game Saturday before Thanksgiving. So there's not a lot you have to say about that. That's going to be exciting, and hopefully we'll be in good health and ready to play a great game.
Hopefully that'll be a battle between 2 top 5 teams looking to make the college football playoff. And then last but not least, Oklahoma gets to go to Louisiana, not to play Tulane in this contest, but instead to play LSU in Baton Rouge. That's going to be interesting.
Listen, it's wild. I've done it. I've lived it, and it's exciting. And you really hope it's afternoon or morning. At night.
We want the 11 a.m. kickoff. So if the Big 12 can make a phone call for us.
The later it gets, the rowdier they get. So we'll see. But anyway, it's a crazy, exciting venue to play in, and but our guys are used to that. We'll be ready for it.
Yeah, I have a feeling being in the SEC, no longer in the Big 12, that game will not be an 11 a.m. kickoff. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will say this: the passion of the fan bases in the SEC is what makes us so special.
Oh yeah.
They all have traditions, they all have interesting things, and I know for Sooner fans, they cannot wait to make these road trips and, of course, welcome these teams into Sooner Nation.
Listen, you're going to see it'll be different. The excitement, the fan bases, the pageantry around the games, it's all big, and it's all, and when you're in it and hopefully winning, every game's important and magnified with these big stadiums and the big fan bases that they all have.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, we're going to finish this holiday show edition with a nice Christmas gift. Danny Stutsman announced a week earlier that he was going to the NFL, and then he had a change of heart and decided he wants to play one more year at Oklahoma. You're the defensive coach, Coach. How does this make you feel that a linebacker
Yeah.
of his quality, his leadership, his talent level is coming back to Norman again?
I love it. It's a huge boost for the program, for the defense, for everybody. His leadership, both sides of the ball, everything about it. And I'm big on, maximizing your window of opportunity.
Yes.
He's going to maximize his college career, and I believe it'll elevate him in the NFL. I really believe he'll be more prepared for it next year. And if you're more prepared for it, test better, play better, do everything a little bit better, all of a sudden you move up the draft board. And you don't have to look far when you start moving up the draft board, and I've had it happen to me a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I've had very few go down, if any. But guys that go from third round to second round, or third round to bottom of the first round, you're tripling, quadrupling your money, and that's a big deal. And you've maximized your college career. So hopefully it works that way for Danny.
Yeah, and I think the thing that impressed me the most is he actually took a step back and he evaluated everything, and he listened to a lot of different people's insights, not just from the NFL side, but on the college football side, and really realized it is much better for me to come back, both short-term and long-term. And to your point, Coach, there's a big difference in guaranteed money and opportunity to stay on a roster when you're a first or second round pick versus a third or fourth round pick.
People don't realize that who aren't in the game or analyze it real close, but we kiddingly call the NFL not for long. Mm-hmm. The average career is 3.5 years. That's because now the second contract costs a lot more. So if you're just one of those guys, a late pick or just a guy, you're going to be moved out in 3.5 years or less. Yeah. And they're going to get another college guy. But if you're one of those first, second round picks, or people they've got money invested in, they're more apt to give you the second contract. Just have a better career. And even if that's all you've made a lot more money if you're a first, second round guy than 3 and back. Yeah. And that was always my point, is maximize the window of opportunity to make that money.
And look at quality of life. I mean, Baker's talked about this. He'd give it all up to play one more year at Oklahoma because he remembers what it was like when he played there, the experience he had, the environment that he got a chance to play in. That means something when people are looking back. And I think a lot of these prospects are now talking to people that are in the NFL that say, what would you do if you're in my shoes? And they're like, hey, you've got a chance to better your family and still stay in college. You should take advantage of that.
Absolutely. And, some guys, I get it, just college isn't for them, or struggle to even go to class or academically, or, the environment, some of it isn't for them, but most guys it is. And if it is, maximize that window. And again, it's just all about maximizing your opportunity in the NFL to make the most money you can for that limited window.
All right, well, coming up here in the next few days, we're going to have our Bowl Pick'em show. You're not going to miss it. I have a feeling I know who he's going to pick in the Alamo Bowl, but we'll have to stay tuned to find out. Remember, for videos anytime, just tap on our video link. For Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops, I'm Brad McMullen, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.